What's going on, guys? It's Greg Meets Dies, and welcome to another weekly update. Hope you guys all had a great weekend. We've got a great week of stuff coming up and a lot that happened last week. So let's jump right into it. First of all, our good news segment. Let me know if you have any good news you'd like me to share with the lacrosse community. Send to me at ECDGreg on Instagram or leave it down in the comments. First thing I want to talk about is and it could either be good news or bad news, depending on how you personally feel, how you look at it. PLL is adding betting for their championship series. So we're not exactly sure what where it'll come from or what service they're going to use, but they did announce that they've partnered with a technology company that services the statistics that you would need to bet on lacrosse. This is, for me at least, really exciting. I think the lacrosse community really great. There's not a lot to bet on and a lot of passionate sports betting fans out there. So when the PLL Championship Series rolls around in July, that means that there's a lot of people who are going to learn about lacrosse because they're going to want to bet on it, but also just adds another level of interest to watching the game, competing with your friends. I know that the guys here are going to be really excited to bet on the Championship Series. So another big move by them, announced their tournament style, announced the betting, and then had their draft. So they've been rolling through this week in media. Next up, we've got college player movement. Earlier, we talked about Cole Williams entering the transfer portal when Dave Petramala was not going to be the coach of Hopkins anymore. He has removed himself from the transfer portal, so it seems like he will be a graduate student at Hopkins, taking his extra year to play for them. Also, Dan O'Connell, face-off guy at Notre Dame, was someone who entered the transfer portal, and it appears that he has withdrawn as well and will be returning to Notre Dame. So two guys who were thinking about transferring maybe, or just put themselves in the portal just in case, are now going to be going back to where they came from, Hopkins and Notre Dame. In more Hopkins news, they have named their offensive coordinator, and it is lacrosse legend John Grant Jr. He's been a coach for the Denver Outlaws and obviously one of the best players to ever play the game. So with the new head coach combined with the new offensive coordinator, we'll see if that brings a lot of new energy to the program and also draws in some really great recruits. Personally, as an offensive player, I would like to go play for John Grant Jr. That would be a pretty cool experience, and I'm sure he has a wealth of knowledge. Another cool piece of news, Gettysburg defender Mitch Wyckoff out of Division III has decided that he's going to use his extra year of eligibility at Syracuse, so a D3 to D1 move, which you really don't see that often. A lot of times you see a D1 guy move down to D3 for his last couple of years. So congrats to him. He's obviously a really great player. I'm looking forward to seeing him at the next level. And finally, we do have some news out of Pat Spencer for you guys. Everyone's been asking, where is he? Why is he not going to play lacrosse? I'd really like to see him play lacrosse. It would appear that he has signed with an agency who's going to represent him in his efforts to play professional basketball. So whether that's the NBA or overseas, we're not sure yet, but it does seem, at least for now, that he's going to pursue pro basketball, and we wish him the best of luck. And finally, let's dig into the PLL draft results. So the PLL held their collegiate draft. I did a live punishment picks on Instagram, but also had the full video up on my IGTV at ECDGreg. It was not a good time. Oh! Oh my God. Do you think the Chaos are going to pick Matt Gaudette? So my picks, I ended up going 3 for 7. Which isn't great, but Grant Ament went number 1 overall. Obviously, I think a lot of people expected that. And then Brian Costabile number 2, Michael Kraus number 3. So they seem like they're really excited for their spots, except for Michael Kraus. Some interesting news there. He was drafted in both the PLL and the MLL draft and has officially signed with the MLL. So while most view the PLL as the newer, superior league that would be a no-brainer for someone to sign with, Kraus, who was drafted both, decided to sign with the MLL. And I think there's a lot of factors at play here, a lot of which we are not privy to. But one factor that we do know about that is certainly an influence is that his hometown is in Connecticut. He signed with the Hammerheads, who are out of Connecticut, so he'll be playing for his hometown team. So I can see the appeal in that for sure. One risk that was taken during the PLL draft that was really interesting is you saw the Chaos draft Jeff Teague. He has not announced what he's going to do with his additional year of college eligibility yet, but I think they took the risk there, maybe like dangled it out to say, hey, you've been drafted, you're one of the top picks. If you don't want to return to college, there's a spot for you in the PLL. And if he does choose to return to college, the Chaos will essentially have forfeited that pick. So given that they only got to pick 2 players in the college draft, it was a pretty big risk. but Jeff Teague is such a great player, it's probably worth it. And now in content you guys need to watch from around the lacrosse world. Last week we put out Mac O'Keefe's tutorial in the basement series. This week we've got Pat Spencer's college pocket, something that we never got a chance to do when he was still playing, and I think it'd be a lot of fun. So that's coming on Wednesday, and we have one every single Wednesday, so make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for weekly how to string your stick videos. And then another cool video I stumbled across, a YouTube channel called Lax Weekly, who's really been pumping up their content during the quarantine, did a reactions video with Brendan O'Neill to his high school plays. Brendan O'Neill is known for his highlight style, obviously has some of the greatest highlight tapes on YouTube, and so they did a Zoom call with him where he was telling him about what happened during these crazy plays that he already has 30,000 views in just a week. Links in the description, you guys should go watch it.
Brendan O'Neill is a goal-scoring machine.
We also released our Carbon 2.0 box. It's available on our site. Link is down in the description. New addition to our Carbon 2.0 line. And a week from today, we have a new release I think you guys are really being pumped about. Not going to see coming, so stay tuned for that. And with that, let's get into the Q&A. Dylan Hendricks said, Greg, when's the new head coming out? You guys already know we're always working on new heads, always working on the next best thing. But for now, I think you'll be pretty excited about the release we have on Monday. All right, next question is, we have a lot of people talking about the MLL versus the PLL, some saying that the MLL should back off and stop trying to compete with the PLL, some asking why a player would pick the MLL over the PLL. And I think there's a lot of factors here and a lot to talk about, but very briefly, my opinion on the MLL versus the PLL is that they're two drastically different models. You've got city-based versus tour-based, and the way they handle everything from media to the players is entirely different, and especially this year, the MLL hasn't announced how they're even going to play yet. The PLL has their championship series. Why a player would want to choose one over the other? Well, number one is money. Obviously, you know, one league may offer more money than the other league, and number two is playing time. The PLL is pretty stocked with top talent, while the MLL is looking for top stars to fill up their rosters. And number three is the tour versus the city-based model. So if you're a guy that doesn't want to travel every single weekend like you do in the PLL, because it is a tour model, and you can get a team who is your home team to sign you, for example, Krause with the Hammerheads, then theoretically half your games will be at home and you're not traveling on a plane so much. So there's just a couple reasons. It goes a lot deeper than that, but I think it is time to accept that they are both here. They both fill certain niches, and they're both really important. And however we can grow the game of pro lacrosse, I think is really important to the game. Final question comes from Dean Kim on Instagram. This is for Q&A. Do you eat mac and cheese with a spoon or a fork? So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to leave your questions for Q&A in the comments or send them to me on Instagram at ECDGreg. Make sure to stay tuned next Monday for another episode, next Wednesday for another tutorial, and look out for that release I've been telling you guys about.